What's up, y'all? Shanequa Gay here. I hope that you are home, that you are safe, that you are in good spirits. I am so very grateful to Creative Mornings ATL for giving myself the opportunity to share with you guys about my purpose journey. So, I'm a visual artist, and I just want to talk to you guys about how I've gotten to where I am now, where I've come from, my adversities, my struggles, my victories, and my oh my God moments. I know in this time of uncertainty and what in the world is going on, talking about your purpose may seem like the most unconventional thing to do, but I assure you, it is during the time of crisis that is the best time to talk about purpose. So let's get started. So, my intro to let you know, hey, y'all snapping with me. Come on, just to wake you up. I made a jingle for you. You want to hear it? Here you go. Hey, we got a purpose, but you got to keep an open mind. God's got a purpose just for you and now. We got a purpose, but you got to keep an open mind. A universal purpose made for you and I. We got a purpose, but you got to keep an open eye. God's got a purpose just for you and I. We got a purpose, but you got to keep an open mind. A universal purpose made for you and I. I know you like it. I know you like it. You can have it. You can steal it. Just give me credit for it. So I want you to imagine a dictionary. And inside of that dictionary are only four letters. And those four letters are the makeup of the chemical compound of your DNA. And those four letters are A, G, C, T. So biochemists have discovered that those letters are your genetic code. Like you got your own personal algorithm, shawty. Like your human genome is made up of 3.2 billion of those letters, which could make up like 800 dictionaries. That means you're here on purpose. And if that don't do it for you, so out of 500 million of your daddy's sperm, you made it. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is not by happen chance. You are absolutely purposed and precious beyond imagination. And so for me, I'll say the acronyms for purpose would be that you have the potential to understand the reason for your original DNA in order for you to be successful and excellent earthlings while you're here. And when we're talking about the definition of purpose, well, it's basically your original intent, like why you are here, why something, or in our case, someone exists. It's your composition, it's your design, it's your potential, your capacity for being. It's purpose. And so for me, my AGCT, I'm claiming true, is artistry, genius, creativity, and talent. And I've been like this all my life. So peep this picture. Outside of the absolutely amazing red tights with the open-toed dress shoes, check my fresh. Inside of that red bag is markers, crayons, colored pencils, sketchbooks, coloring books. My godparents, and that's my godfather behind me smiling proudly, they always provided me with the tools for creativity for Christmas, for holidays, for my birthdays, just any amazing day for any random reason. They would give me the things that I loved. And that picture for me was a representation of the people who loved me and the way that they supported me all the time. Because I was that kid, like you could give me a piece of paper and a pencil and I was good. But how did I get that way? So my parents throughout my life were always telling me they had no idea where Shanequa gets her creativity from. And yet, I grew up in a household with my own personal DJ. My pop would play anything between Kenny Rogers to Too Short, right? And so he also was like in the midst of him battling like illiteracy issues. My dad would take apart cars, computers, television, speakers, take it apart only to put it back together because he just wanted to figure out how it worked. And that was his own personal discovery, curiosity, and genius at work. And I absolutely feel like I got that from my dad. I could say the same thing about my mom. She is a seamstress. She is a culinary artist. She is a craftswoman. Even today, she helps me put my sculptural works together, brilliant in her own way. And throughout my family, I got quilters and carpenters, and yet these people were telling me they had no idea where I got my creativity from. It perplexed me as a child. I get it now as an adult. And I'll take off my cool and share that while I grew up in a household of two parents that I absolutely believe loved me, cared for me, provided, and really wanted to build up and encourage my brother and I also know that they had some, dysfunctions in the background. Our family did. So my father, because of his own personal demons, he battled substance abuse, and that made him physically abusive toward us and our family. And my mother, super preoccupied with what was going on with my dad, well, she became super obsessed with Jesus. And my brother, he became obsessed with sports in order to cope with what was going on in our household. And I became a recluse in my room because that was my coping mechanism. I created, I sang, I wrote, I drew everything into a place of okay. And so I want to share with you this quote by this theologian, John O'Donohue. He says, "There is a place in the soul that neither time nor space nor no created thing can touch. There is a place in you that has never been wounded. There's a still sureness in you, a seamlessness, a confidence and tranquility that with the intention of prayer and spirituality and love, and I'll add to that creativity, is to now and again find your own personal sanctuary." And that's what art was for me. It was my sanctuary for healing and coping with what was happening in my home. And you will find a lot of creatives are born that way. And I share with you in transparency about adversity because I need you to know that in the midst of grief, in the midst of a trial or a tribulation, in the midst of rape, in the midst of a divorce or a loss of job or, a global pandemic, I need you to know that you can still give birth to your purpose in the midst of all of those things, okay? So knowing that you knew that you know that you knew, I knew that I know that I know that I knew that I was going to be an artist. My parents would take us to Piedmont and Grant Park growing up, and we would go to jazz and arts festivals. We would go to the artist market over at Greenbrier Mall, aka the Briar Patch, and I would always watch The Cosby Show and have a heart's desire to have my work on the Cosby walls. And if you look up there in that corner, I had my own mural installation in my room. So when my parents would send me to my room for punishment, I would draw on the walls. I knew that I knew that I know that I knew that I wanted to be an artist. So fast forward, I graduated from high school and I got accepted to the Savannah College of Art and Design, but I really didn't want to go because Savannah just seemed super weird and antebellumish and eerie to me. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna go to the Art Institute of Atlanta. And I did. And I fell in love with this dude and we graduated and I had a baby and we got married and I fell out of love. And I became a single parent mom. And in order to support me and my son, I just didn't see pursuing my art as something logical because I needed to make sure that me and my son were able to eat. And so I put art on the back burner. And I made it a hobby, but not anything I was really serious about. So I had a friend of mine one day invite me out to lunch and was like, how long are you going to be a hobbyist? How long are you going to put your life on the back burner? How long are you not going to pursue the very thing that you were born to do? She challenged me to write a business plan and to get on with my life about a purpose. And so I did. I did exactly the steps that she gave me. I went out, I found myself a mentor, And he introduced me to the art world here in Atlanta, which was super amazing. And he showed me how to gain a collector base, how to sell my work. He taught me how to make creative community. And I was super amazed at how being really intentional with your purpose and really trusting God in your process, like all the stuff that you could do. So, like in this picture here, that's me at the Southwest Art Center at my first like official art show. It was a juried exhibition and I won. And it really, really instilled in me that, hey, maybe I can do this thing, you know? So elevators. Elevators are the up and down moments. And my up and down moments while trying to stabilize myself as an artist were all the jobs that I had. And I'll say this about jobs. Jobs are your career. Jobs are your skill. Jobs, by and large, are what the educational system trained you to get. And jobs, you can be fired from them, and you can absolutely retire from them. And they can create stability. That's the good and bad. Your purpose work, like the thing that you're called to do, well, your purpose work, you can't be fired from it, and you can't retire from it. Your purpose is that insurmountable seed that we talked about. You came here with it, so you can't get rid of it. So the same way that a bird can't retire from flying and a fish can't retire from swimming, oh, sweetheart, you can't retire from your purpose. Can't do it. Sorry. So back to my jobs. The jobs that I got the most out of were Creating Pride and AmeriCorps, because both of those organizations taught me how I can infuse my purpose with a job together. And the founder and the executive director of Creating Pride, well, she was like Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada. But imagine Miranda Priestley, she loves Jesus, and instead of Runway, she runs a nonprofit organization. That's who the executive director was for me. And what I'll say about this job, it ran me for the gamut. It was the most difficult job I've ever had in my life, but it taught me how to plan. It taught me how to organize. It taught me how to maximize my creativity, and it taught me how to operate in excellence all of the time, and how to produce, how to create more. I was super amazed at all that I gleaned from that, and from that executive director. And I gained a fellow sister, I gained a friend, and I gained a mentor. And I'm ever grateful for everything that I learned from that woman, because it made me ambitious and driven, just like her. Hold on, be strong. So after having an amazing career working with Anne at Creating Pride for about 3 or 4 years, come 2008, I lost my brother to a car accident in March. And he and I lived not even 5 seconds from the place where he had that accident. And it was the most devastating life event I've ever experienced. And so after about a year, I resigned from working with Anne because I was so distraught with depression. And one of the things I'll say, if you've ever gone through tremendous loss, like a death or a divorce or a separation, please go get counseling. You know, for me, I went after the fact. And it really proved to be detrimental to who I was as a person, because for 3 years after my brother died, I created nothing. I was just in a place of survivor's remorse and really wanting to take myself out with my brother. And I know that's not anything that he would want from me, but it was just such a difficult and depressing time. And so I had to hit the reset button. And the way that I did that, I figured if I go back to school, I'll be able to fulfill assignments and I'll be able to do some creative work. I had to do a little Jedi mind trick on myself. And guess where I applied to? That's right, Savannah College of Art and Design. Took my behind back to school. And I was amazed at how, like, life will revisit you to put you back on your path. So while I didn't attend during high school or after high school, Savannah College of Art and Design. As an adult, later in life, I went back to school, got accepted, and it's like when I looked up out of nowhere, I was on the trajectory of actually living inside of my dreams from childhood. Now, I was not able to get myself on the Bill Cosby show. However, I was on Being Mary Jane on BET. My work has been on Zoe Ever After on BET. My work was on Greenleaf on OWN Network. My work has been in Addicted, the film. My work was in Henrietta Lacks, Yo Yo. My work has been on Fashion Runways in Dubai, shouted. And the most amazing moment out of my life was back in 2013 when I went to represent the state of Georgia at the First Lady's Luncheon for Michelle Obama. I was selected as one of the illustrators to create a hostess gift for her, and oh my God, I never dreamed that for myself, but because I was on my path, because I was on my purpose, because I was where I was supposed to be, because I was pursuing my insurmountable seed, I got invited. I was in the right place at the right time doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And because I chose to live and not die with my brother, I'm able to fulfill my purpose work. So for instance, last year, back in 2019, I, along with 10 other artists, were selected to create murals around the city of Atlanta to speak to the civil rights issues through our body of work. That's purpose work. Or for the Hammons House Museum, last year I was able to paint the whole house concerning the issues of gentrification over in the West End. That's purpose work. Or the students over at Oglethorpe University, well, they were wanting to have artwork at their museum that represented how diverse their campus is and to represent the social issues happening with African Americans. They purchased and acquisitioned my work for their museum. That's purpose work. So, in closing, I just wanted to share with you that the greatest show on earth is you pursuing your purpose, pursuing the very thing that you were created to do. Because what else you gonna do? You gonna chill and do nothing? Be mad at your job? Pursue your purpose. You got a purpose. You got a purpose, but you got to keep an open eye. God's got a purpose just for you and I. You got a purpose, but you got to keep an open mind. A universal purpose made for you and I. You got a purpose, but you got to keep an open eye. God's got a purpose just for you and I. You got a purpose, but you got to keep an open mind. A universal purpose made for you and I hope you guys got something out of this. I hope that your purpose and your passion is being discovered, or that you're already there, or that this has encouraged you to get there. Oh, and let's run it back. Those themes, those titles that you hear, hey, those are Outkast songs and titles, because I'm ATL always, all day. And I can think of nobody better than Outkast, who have pursued their purpose, and they took the whole globe with them, baby. And you can too. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Creative Mornings, ATL.
All right, everybody.
Great smiles.
Yeah. Shanequa, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Let's give some love to her in that chat box down below. Thanks so much for sharing that. It was awesome. I love it. We're going to do some Q&A now. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat box. Malik, our moderator, will help us gather a few. I've got one to kick us off. So Shanequa, you shared about losing your brother, which is so tragic. And I'm just curious how that inspired your work, or how that influenced the work and the way you think about your art.
One of the things, it helped me to remember that we're not here for very long.
Mm,
And that really propelled me forward to really pursue my work on purpose and with purpose. And
mm.
just to remember him through my work. And remembering him through my work means being all that I could be while I'm here. Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
Mhm.
Okay, so I've got a question here. If you're searching for your purpose, do you have any advice on how to find it in the first place?
Well, I think the kind of typical, what is it, statement that people say is like, it's the thing that you would do for free if nobody paid you.
Mm,
It's the thing that kind of keeps you up at night. It's the thing that you think about all day if you're at work, if you're amongst your friends, if you kind of go off into the distance. It's the thing that you're always thinking about. It's the thing that you're really passionate about secretly that you don't tell anybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about how much does, and you spoke about this a little bit, but how much does your purpose overlap with your vocation sometimes, or like what you can earn a living with? Should it be connected? Should it be separate? What are your thoughts on sort of the commerce side
I,
of
I, I
purpose?
absolutely believe it can be connected, which is why I shared about my time at AmeriCorps and creating Pride, because it was the first time I experienced being able to fuse my creative gift with my job. So I absolutely believe that you can overlap both of those. That your purpose work and your vocation can actually tie in quite beautifully. Hmm.
Mhm. All right. What about your mentor? I have a question here. How did you find your mentor?
So my first mentor was this guy named Doyle, and I had written this business plan, and I was going off to Bankhead Highway to go sell my original work, and I met Doyle. And he was like, "Hey, before you go do that, let me introduce you to a couple of people. Let me take you to a couple of places and help you to develop your gift before you sell it." And he just took me under his wing. And for several years, I was under his tutelage, and I was really, really grateful. So I think you can find a mentor, but I think most times, your mentor finds you, kind of like in Star Wars, how the Jedi is finding each other.
All right, here's a question that I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts on. This is from Megan Dombeck. I hope I said that right. How have you navigated finding and following your purpose while raising a kid?
Oh my goodness. So I have not I say I'm a single parent mom, but I've never been a single parent mom, right? So I have had a village around me, and that includes co-parenting with my ex-husband, who has done an amazing job in helping to raise our son. And so I have done it with village. I've not done it by myself. And I think having a village, having a circle of people, of friends, of family that will love and support you while you pursue your path is really, really important to your success. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, can you talk about your creative process and how you get started on a new piece?
I'm a nerd. So writing books, reading, really supersedes my creative work. So like before I begin sketching and drawing, or actually implementing and executing a painting, I'm researching first. I'm thinking about the work. I'm meditating on it. It's marinating with me. And so before I actually begin, really pursuing a body of work or a series, it has been fully researched before I do anything. And then most things start from a sketch, or photography. I use a lot of reference work, and so that's how I begin, if you will. And I use all types of mediums in order to get to where I want to get to in my work. And so I think being a scientist, being in your own lab and creating is really important. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, that's great. I love that. All right, so here's a question from Sean David. He said, I'm going through a pretty traumatic experience right now myself and found that my creative spark has faltered. What did you do to rediscover it?
Well, remember I shared I had to do a Jedi mind trick on myself. in order to get myself back into the game. I personally took myself back to school. Being a good student was really important to me. And so I felt like if I took myself back to school, I would be forced to do assignments, and those creative assignments would then in turn get me kind of back into the game. So I think kind of tricking yourself is really important. But also do not push past your grief process. Do not push past the process that you're going through. That is important to getting yourself back to a place of normalcy or a new normal. So in the midst of that traumatic experience, definitely get counseling. Definitely do not seclude or isolate yourself if you can. And be okay with the process with where you are.
That's awesome. That's great. I love that. And I love the part about going back to school, forcing yourself, almost like, it's the good, the positive side of deadlines.
Right.
You got to deliver. You got to go.
You got to deliver. You got to deliver. Yeah.
All right. Here's one from Marcus Johnson. How has the culture of Atlanta influenced your work?
Oh my goodness. Can't you see it as outcasts everywhere? So I have the blessing and fortunate experience of being from Georgia. I'm from here. And so everything that comes with the culture I've experienced from childhood to now. And that includes all of our mayors. That includes the HBCUs. That includes Freaknik. That includes education. Like all of the things that come with being from here is integrated into my body of work. It's integrated into me. It's like in my DNA. What is it? Kendrick says, I got royalty, loyalty inside my DNA. I got ATL inside my DNA. And so in every form, way, and fashion, I have really benefited with being a Southern woman and a proud Georgian.
Yeah. Preach. All right. Lisa Throwers asks a question here. How do you connect with your collectors right now during this pandemic?
You know what? Because people don't have nothing to do, they're connecting with me. And I'm very grateful to have loyal collectors, people who love my work enough to continue to keep me employed as a creative. I have commissions on the table. I have a friend, Shannon. He keeps calling me back to continue to fulfill his murals in his household. So I'm really grateful that I have people who are in my circle supporting me as a creative. You can't beat it with a stick. And so a lot of my advantageous moments as a creative have come from my collectors, and you'll find that within the art world. And if you are painters or someone pursuing creative work, especially in galleries and museums, your collectors are who push your career forward. Yeah, and great art dealers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How about let's see. Here's one from FT Reed. What project, if any, started you on the road to people knowing Shanequa Gay, knowing yourself?
I would say the Fair Game Project. So I, back in 2007, 2006, somewhere around there, I began dreaming about this series, this body of work, speaking to African American males, kind of the social issues that were happening, especially under the Obama administration. And I really began that work back in 2011, really pursuing it. And the Fair Game Project really got my name out there. And, just using my work as a kind of social advocacy, if you will. And it was community-based, and it could be shown in galleries, museums, and public spaces. And, Youth Space Gallery and the Auburn Avenue Research Library really helped to push that body of work forward. Mm-hmm.
Great. I'm curious, could you walk us through more of the process for the Vine City Marta Station mural that you did? How long did that take? How did you get that project? Just give us kind of the quick backstory on that one.
Oh my goodness. Can we talk about the Vine City Marta project? Let me first preface that while I was doing that mural and being a part of that community initiative with Wonder Root, I was finishing up my MFA at Georgia State University. So in the midst of that, I was starting my thesis work, preparing to show at Art Basel in Miami, and painting in 30-degree cold at the Marta station. And it took me, I guess, about a full month to get it done, me and back and forth between Miami, teaching at Georgia State, fulfilling my MFA, and going to Vine City Marta station. Like, that was a lot. So preparing for it, I had the amazing opportunity to visit this teenage homeless shelter in Atlanta. And it was just an amazing experience. One, to hear, when you think about homelessness, you think about, most people think about like this, you know, kind of old wino, you know, we have this figure, this image in our heads, but there are a lot of teenagers who are homeless. And so that Vine City Marta mural is about the homelessness that is underneath the weeds, underneath the vegetation. So one of the things that Georgia's known for is this beautiful vegetation, like how many trees and how gorgeous it is out here. And so I wanted to talk about that difficulty in a beautiful way. And, you know, on one end, it was an amazing, outstanding experience, but on another end, it was freezing cold. It's just cold. You know, you think about your grandparents and they give you like the coldest winter ever stories, and they had to walk like 50 million miles to get to school. So that's my story. It was the coldest fall ever in Georgia, and I was outside painting this mural.
I love it. All right, we've got 3 more, I think, that we'll get to. Let's see. Okay. Here's a question from Sasha. What are some fundamentals that artists must have in place to ensure personal and financial success with their practice?
I would say financial business classes, business courses, or having someone to help you with your finances. Do not do that yourself. So a CPA is your best friend. And, you know, I'll say for us as creatives, or I'll speak for myself, the business side of it has not always been my favorite side, but it's the side that will help to ensure your success. And so making sure you are marketed well, and again, have a circle of people around you that can help you to do that. But if you solo dolo, do it the best way that you know how, and the best way that you know how, what I mean by that is educating yourself. And Atlanta has a lot of amazing organizations that can help push you forward. I would say the Creatives Project helped with my body of work. I would say Mint ATL has helped push my body of work forward. Wonderroot, when it was existing. There are a lot of resources and arts organizations that will help you to push your work forward. And I think being well educated about what you're pursuing and creating a business plan. I know we don't like to plan, but planning for the year, planning for 20, 50, 100 years out. So you're creating legacy work. And I think that's really important language when you are building your body of work. You want to be remembered after this, right? So what is your legacy work? Where will your work be 50, 100, 500 years from now? I know that's a lot.
That's awesome. That's great. All right. Punk X Creations asks, thanks for such a lovely talk. It was so nice to hear you talk about therapy. What do you recommend for someone who wants to start therapy but hasn't yet?
I would say even if you haven't started it yet, what are you doing for self-care? What are you doing for wellness? What are you doing to separate yourself from any negativity? And that includes all nouns, persons, places, or things that are negative, right? That are not fulfilling your spirit or fulfilling the human experience. And that's emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. What are you doing for yourself? So even if you're not going to a counselor, if you're not going to a psychiatrist, if you're not going to see someone to help you get well, what are the ways that you are helping your own self to get well? So I think when we advocate for ourselves, I believe all things kind of come together to help you to pursue those things. Some people will call it the universe. Some people will say it's God. But when you put your foot forward to pursue the things that you really want out of life, I believe the world will meet you there.
That's great. Okay, last question here. I can't even pronounce their screen name.
Uh-oh.
Xudeblux. So
Okay.
that person.
That person.
They said, what have been your favorite projects to create and why? What has been the most challenging and why?
Again, the murals that I did for the murals I did for the Super Bowl. I'm gonna try to give a really quick story. So I have a mural that's across from MLK, which is over up on Orange Street. And they wanted me to create this mural with a boom lift. I had never created used a boom lift before in my life. And the cats that they sent to me to train for the boom lift, they gave me a literal 5-minute training session and told me to go on YouTube to figure it out. So I had gone to my mother's house crying. I was like, I'm so small. I'm only 5'5". What do they want from me? Even though I'm a be afraid but do it anyway type person. But they did finally have someone come to train me to do that, to learn how to drive a boom lift. Because when you think about boom lifts, these things are like several feet up in the air. I was just super scared, just super afraid. So again, the murals that I did for the Super Bowl were hands down the hardest, but the most fulfilling. Because after I did those, oh my God, I became Superwoman. I can do anything. If I can drive a boom lift, if I can, paint on these huge buildings and, paint Marta Station in 20 and 30 degree weather, oh, sweetheart, I can do anything. So those were the most fulfilling. And then I'll also say the Hammond's House murals that I did last year were also the most fulfilling. One, because it was solely focused toward the West End, which I have a background there. And it was to speak to, again, a social issue, which we found the best ever.
Down in the chat box. Thank you so much. Thank you for that talk. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
the Q&A. Thanks for everything you've done to prep for this. This is not just, some easy thing to show up and do. So thank you so much. And we're excited for May 29th with Hannah Palmer. We hope to see everyone again real soon, and have a great day.